Hello guys, my name is Srinivas. I am a Python trainer. I have 20 years of experience both in project as well as teaching experience. We have finished basic Python. So, today we are starting a new playlist. It is a it's a advanced Python. In advanced Python, we are starting in a new playlist, that is advanced Python. In this advanced Python, we will start with topics. First, let me show you the topics of advanced Python. See, in advanced Python, we will be discussing about object-oriented programming, exception handling, file handling, what is MySQL database, how to work with Python with MySQL, what are iterators, what are generators, and what are decorators. See, we have finished basic Python. We have finished what are data types, what are variables, print function, type function, operators, all the operators. Then controlling the formula using if else, nested if else, match case, loops, while loop, match case. Then we discuss about debugging concepts, while loop, typecasting and type conversion, input function, range function, for loop, nested for loop, break statement, continue statement. Okay. We discussed print pattern programs and how to generate prime numbers using nested for loop, and also we will discuss very important concept, that is data structures, that is list, tuple, sets and dictionary. These are very 4 important data structures in Python. Then also we discussed string functions, list comprehensions, we discussed functions, recursive functions, lambda functions, filter function, map function, radius function, and we also discussed in the previous session what are modules, Python modules. About packages we will discuss in the end. So, today we are starting with a new playlist called Advanced Python. In Advanced Python, we will be discussing about object-oriented programming in Python, we will discuss exception handling, file handling, MySQL database with we will work with MySQL database, and then we will work with Python with MySQL database. We will connect Python with MySQL and we will work on Python. By Python we will write all SQL statements, that we will discuss in coming classes, and also we will discuss about iterators, generators and decorators. So, today in this session we will be starting with the object-oriented programming. So, before going to object-oriented programming, so first we must understand 2 things. One is object. So, we will discuss about object. So, what is object? Any in real life entity, anything is object. Example, if you take a fan, fan is one object. Okay. Why? Because object has 2 attributes. Okay. Object has 2 attributes. 2 attributes. One is at 2 property. One is 2 properties and not attribute. I am very sorry. Any object has 2 properties. Any object, again once again I will say, any object has 2 properties. Number 1 is attributes. Any object will have attributes, and any object has behavior. Attributes and behavior. You take anything, anything, you take fan. See, fan has 2 properties. Number 1, for example, what are attributes? Attributes. What are the attributes of fan? For example, wings. Okay, 4 wings. Color of the fan, black color, yellow color, brown color, white color, you take any colors. Okay. Next, brand, which brand, which company brand. Okay. So, these are all attributes of fan object. Now, this fan object has behavior. Okay. Behavior, for example, rotation, rotates, right, speed of the fan. Okay. These are the behavior of a fan object. We'll take one more example. For example, we'll take one dog. See, dog is also one object, and dog has again 2 attributes, 2 properties. One is attributes. One is what? attributes. Example attributes of a dog are color of the dog, breed of the dog, name of the dog, legs. Okay. These are the attributes of dog object. Same way we have second property. What is the second property? Behavior. Now, you should know what is the behavior of dog. Okay. For example, barking, winking tail. Winking tail is a behavior of a behavior of dog. Okay. Winking tail, eat, sleep, walk. These are all behavior of dog. Sleep, walk, run, etc., etc., etc. All are behavior of dog. So, any object, you take any object in the world, it has two properties. One is attributes and one is behavior. For example, you take email. See, email is also one object, and email has two properties, that are attributes and behavior. Now, what are the attributes? What are the attributes of dog? Sorry, email. Attributes of email are what? To subject, email, CC, BCC, blank copy, subject already discussed, subject, etc., etc., etc. So, these are all attributes of an email. Now, what is the behavior? Behavior is sending emails, attaching documents. These are the behavior of an email object, etc., etc. So, again, what is object? Object has two properties, one is attributes and one is behavior. We will take one more object, for example, employee. Employee also one object. Employee has attributes and behavior. For example, what are the attributes of employee? Attributes are, for example, employee ID, employee name, employee salary. These are the etc., etc., etc. These are the attributes of employee. Now, what are the behavior of employee? Okay. Behavior of employee: working, work, completing assignments, projects, completing projects. Right? These are the behavior of employee. Yes. Now, we understand what is object. Object has two properties, one is attributes and one is behavior. This is first concept. Second concept, you should know what is class. What is class? See, class is nothing but a blueprint. Okay. Blueprint for creating objects. It is a blueprint for creating objects. See, we will take one real life scenario. First, we will take a real life scenario, then we will come to object programming. For example, I will go to paint. For example, there is one construction company called ABC Construction Company. Okay. There is a company called ABC Construction Company. Just a minute. ABC Construction Company. And this construction company, they purchased one land. For example, they purchased one acre of land. They purchased one acre of land and they want to build buildings. They want to build villas, some 100 villas, some 10 or 20 villas they want to build. Now, how they start this construction people? Directly they can start building the buildings. So, what they will do, this construction people, first they will design one document. Now, this document, a paper document for example, and this document is called a blueprint document or design document or a template. Okay. This document is called what? Blueprint document, or you can say it is a design document. So, it is called a blueprint or a design document. Okay. Right. And what they will do here? Here they will do some design of the building, okay, some design of the building. They will do some room designing, something like this. They will design on the paper, Then what will do? Based on this design document, they will start building villas. Okay. Based on this document, they will start villas. Okay. Same document, n number of buildings, here you can construct n number of buildings here, same document. So, here they build what? They build all villas here. For example, they will build villas here. I will take this green color, and these are all, these green color boxes are villas, buildings. Okay. Based on a single design document or a blueprint document, they will do what? They will start building these villas. Right. These are all buildings. So, based on one document, one single this design template or blueprint document, they will build villas. Right. So, we understand what is class. See, this is called class. This is called what? This is called class. This one. This blueprint document is called class. And this red color they are called building objects. These are called objects. Object 1, villa 1, object 2, villa 2, object 3, villa 3. These are all objects. This green color boxes are objects, and this blue color is called a class in object oriented terms. So, one class, okay, we can create n number of objects by using one class. So, this is called class. This blueprint document is a class, and this green color boxes are called what? Objects. So, based on one design document, one blueprint document, we can get n number of objects. So, we will understand what is object, what is class. So, we will start with just give me 1 minute. Okay. So, our topics in Python object programming, our topics are these are our topics. First, we will understand the basics of object programming, then we will discuss about what are the types of variables and methods in object programming, what is inheritance concept, what is polymorphism, what is encapsulation, and finally, we will discuss about abstraction. These are the concepts in object oriented programming. So, we will start with what? Basics. What is by object programming? See, before we learn this object programming, there are different types of programmings we have. So, this Python supports different types of programmings. For example, it supports procedures, it supports procedural programming, functional programming, and also it supports object programming. Okay, right? Just now we discussed what is object. Any object represents real life objects. Example: email, man, student, employee, dog. You take anything, fan. Okay. Every object has two properties: attributes and behavior. Attributes of emails are heading, subject, name, recipient list, and behaviors are sending attachments or sending emails. They are behavior of email object. This is one example. Okay. So, what is object programming? Object programming is an approach of writing programs by creating classes and objects. So, we are discussed now about classes and objects. So, it is nothing but approaching of writing programs by using classes and objects. More focus is on data rather than logic. Why we use this OOPS? Because to solve real world problems easily and effectively, and it provides some features. For example, just now we discussed the chapters. What are they? Inheritance, it is reusability; encapsulation, it is security; and abstraction, it is hiding the data. Okay. So, these are very important in object programming. One is inheritance, encapsulation and abstraction. Right. So, what is class? Class is nothing but a blueprint, just now we discussed, right. Class is a blueprint, design document or blueprint document or a prototype for what? To create objects. Example, just now we explained. See, this is called this document. This blue color box is what? It is a document, it is a design document, it is a prototype, or we can say it is a blueprint. Based on this blueprint, what we will do? We will create objects. So, class is a template or a blueprint or a prototype for getting objects. Every object belongs to some class. For example, if you take this villa 1, this villa 1 belongs to this class, this villa 1 belongs to this class, villa 2 belongs to the same class, villa 3 belongs to same class. So, all objects belong to some classes, some class. Okay. So, if you take email class, see email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4, 4 objects belongs to email class, right. So, class is nothing but template, blueprint, prototype for creating objects. See, class has attributes. For example, you take email, heading one attribute, participants one attribute, attachments one attribute, subject is one attribute. Okay. What are the methods? What are the behavior? What is the behavior of email? Sending an email, saving as draft, attaching documents. These are all behavior of email object. So, here we created one class. Based on in this class we created one email, one object. Email one heading is taking leave, participant is some XYZ, and attachments are form.pdf. These are the attributes. For email 2, the heading is required help and participant is ABC. So, these are the email 1 and email 2 objects. Email 1, email 2 objects. What is class? Class is collection of attributes and methods. Class is collection of objects, and technically a class is user defined data type. User defined data type. So, now next we have to discuss about the syntax of creating classes. Syntax of creating classes or defining the class, what you can say. So, to create a class in Python, we use class keyword, class name, class name, indentation, then we will give here what? Attributes and behavior, declaration of attributes, declaration of behavior and implementing the behavior. We will discuss about in detail later. So, class is nothing but it contains attributes and behavior. So, this is a way to create classes: class name, colon, indentation, then attributes, it contains attributes and it is contains behavior. Right. This is creating the class, creating a blueprint document. Now, next, based on this document I want to create objects. So, syntax for creating objects based on class. You can create n number of objects, n number of objects. So, syntax for creating object, the syntax is obj, for example, object name equals to class name, and in the brackets we have to pass arguments. What are these arguments? We will discuss practically. So, here what? Arguments. Like when we call this function, we will pass arguments at same way. When you create object, we will pass arguments. Right. So, this is a way to create objects. Now, we will see one practically we will see. We will create class, based on what class we will create objects. So, what I will do, I will come to PyCharm. First, I will define or I will create one class. We will take one for example student. We will take student class. Okay. So, we will start with class student, student, indentation. Yes. Now I will create one method, one behavior or one method we can say. Okay. Class is nothing but what? It contains attributes and methods or behavior. So, technically behavior is called a method and technically attributes are called variables. Okay. I will write here technically methods are called, behavior is called behavior, it is called method and attributes in object-oriented programming terms, attributes are called variables. So, what will now I want to define one method. For example, def is a keyword, okay, and where we create functions, right, in normal. Here also same, it is nothing but in classes is methods are nothing but functions. How will you define function? How will you create a function? By using def keyword. Underscore init underscore self. So, this what is init? What is this init method? What is the self variable? We will discuss in coming classes. So, just know in this init method, what is init method? We will discuss in detail later. What is the self variable? This also we will discuss later. Okay. So, here we will declare the attributes or variables for this student class. For example, I will create 3 variables or 3 attributes: roll number of the student, name of the student and age of the student. So, how many variables I created? I created 3 variables, where in this init method. So, what is init method? What is this init method? What is this self variable? We will discuss in coming classes. Okay. Right. Now, I will write one statement called self dot rno equals to rno, self dot name equals to name of the student, self dot age equals to age. Yes. Now, what is this? This is nothing but initialization. We are initializing the object when we create the we are initializing these variables when you create the object. This will understand slowly we will understand when we do this practically. We will write some programs, we will understand about this concept. So, actually this is called initialization, this coding. For example, from line number 4, 5 and 6, see this part is called initialization, right. We know what is initialization. For example, when you declare a variable, how you will declare? For example, I want to declare 3 variables. Okay. I want to declare a variable. For example, I equals to 0. I declare one variable called I and I assign one value called 0. See, this is nothing but starting value is 0, So, this is called initializing a variable, Okay. So, I initialized with what? 0. So, for example, NUMB equals to 0 or 10 for example, take 10. So, I initialized this num variable with 10, I initialized starting value, initialized this variable called num variable with 10, means my starting value is the value for num is what? 10, the starting initial number with 10. Later we can update by using num equals to num plus 1, for example, num plus 1. So, num becomes what? Num becomes 11 now, becomes 11. So, my starting value is what? My starting value is 10. For example, this one, you take this I equal to 0, the starting value 5 is 0, it is nothing but initialization. We are initializing a value 0 to the variable I. So, this is called initialization. For example, now I want to update I plus plus, what happens? I becomes 1. So, we are incrementing by 1, but the initial value is what? The initial value is 0. Same way here this is concept, which concept? Let me come here. So, this line number 4, line number 5, line number 6. We are initializing some values to roll number, name and age when you create the object, that we will discuss. But line number 4, 5 is what? Initializing variables. Okay. So, I write here it is nothing but initializing variables. So, that is why we write a method called INIT method. INIT method is called initialization method, means we will initialize the values of these variables, for example, roll number, name and age. These are called attributes, or technically we will say as variables, right. So, we understand what is this init method. We will discuss about this init method in detail in coming class. In coming class, we will discuss about this init method, right. So, we have defined one method. Okay. Now, next I want to create one more method or behavior of this class. My next behavior or next method is what? Display method. Now, this time I use display method, and every method, see here, please notice here there is one self. It is not a keyword, it is a variable name. We can give any name, but Python, by Python convention, we have to declare as self. Now, we will discuss about the same thing, self. What is this self in detail in coming session. So, here, and what is the use of this display method? Okay. Display method, what will display this roll numbers, name and age of the student. So, what I will do here, I will use print roll number of the student. So, I will put in this single in this string, okay, and colon here, comma, I want to print the variable name. Okay. So, self dot, the variable name is what for roll numbers? What this again I will discuss what is this self. We will discuss this self in coming class. Okay. So, we have to print by using this variable called self dot roll number, means this one. Next, I want to print name. So, I will say print name of the student, name colon comma self dot RNO, Okay. Next, print age comma self dot age. So, what is the self? We will discuss. See, this method, this function used to initialize the variables, and this function is used to display the details about the student. So, in this method there is one constructor method, this is called constructor, or we can say init method. We will discuss about constructor in coming class, but this method is called initialization method, that is why the name is init method. It is nothing but this method will initialize the variables. See, what are the variables here? Attributes, roll number, name and age, and compulsory we should declare we have to declare this attributes or variables where in this init method. If you want to declare variables, we should use this init method. And then another function called a display function in this class. This function is to display the details about the attributes or variables. This step 1 is done. Step 2. What is step 2? Step 2 is to create object. Syntax is done, this creating a class is done. Next is what? I want to print this, I want to create the object. You can create n number of objects. So, for example, my students has, so there are some 20 students in my class. So, I have to create how many objects? 20 objects. So, you can create n number of objects by using one class. For example, I want to create one object here. So, to create the object, for example, obj student 1, std 1, I am creating first student object equals to class name is student, and for example, see there are three input parameters, 3 variables or parameters, input parameters, we have to pass arguments, right. So, when I create the object, compulsory you have to pass arguments. For example, roll number is 100, name for example Sachin, comma age is for example 46 for example. So, I created the first object. I have some 20 students. So, I can create like this n number of objects. So, I will create one more object For example, student 101, 101, and this time I will give Rohit, this time I will give some 35 or 34, whatever. So, like this objects obj std2 second object, like this I can create n number of objects. So, today we understand the concept of object, class, what is object, what is class, what is object-oriented programming, how to create class, what is the syntax, what is object, how to create syntax for creating objects, and we discussed about how to define a class. In tomorrow's session, in coming session, we will be discussing about how to call the methods. See, there are two methods, right? This is one init method and one more is display method. How to call this method and other things about the about this init method in detail, and what is self variable we will discuss in coming sessions. Okay. If you like this video, please click on like button and share our channel. Thank you.